Let's meet the most interesting and funny piece on the chessboard, and that is the knight. A knight looks like a horse and every player gets two of them. In the starting position, these knights sit between the rook and the bishop. As you can see, these knights are placed between the rook and the bishop. Another way to remember is that the knight would occupy the square next to the corner of the board. In a game of chess, a knight is valued at 3 points. And now, let's look at how a knight moves on the chessboard. Now the reason why I called knight a funny piece because it doesn't move on a straight line or a straight diagonal like other pieces. It rather moves in an L-shaped pattern. So if a knight is sitting here on the board, it can move in an L shape and can come to this square. Or it can move in a reverse L shape and come to this square. So the way to remember this is that it would either move 2 squares straight horizontally and then 1 square vertical, or it would move 2 squares straight vertically and then 1 square horizontal. Let's understand this on the chessboard. So a knight would move 2 squares horizontally. So it can move 2 squares horizontally in this direction and then 1 square vertical. So 1 square vertical could be either this or this. So from here the knight can move to any of these 2 squares. Similarly, 2 squares horizontally can also be on this side of the board and then 1 square vertical, which would be either this or this. So from here the knight can also move to one of these 2 squares. Now let's look at the other one. 2 squares straight vertically and then 1 square horizontally. So 2 squares vertical can be this 1 and 2 squares vertical, and now from here it will go 1 square horizontal. So it can either go to here or here. So from here the knight can move to any of these 2 squares. The knight can also move 2 squares vertical in the downward direction, and then from here 1 square horizontal or 1 square horizontal to this side. So from here the knight can move to any of these 2 squares. So if a knight is sitting in the center of the board as it's shown now, so from here this knight can move to any of these squares marked with the blue circles. So if you have a closer look at this, the knight is moving in an L shape on the chessboard. An easy way to remember this is 2 straight and then slide to the side. So 2 square straight can be counted as 1, 2 and then slide to the side. Again 2 square straight and then slide to the side. 1, 2, 2 square straight and then slide to the side. So from here the knight can come to this square. Again 2 square straight, 1, 2 square straight and then slide to the side. So whichever way you would like to remember, either you can remember it as 2 straight horizontal and then 1 vertical, or 2 straight vertical and then 1 square horizontal. You can remember it this way, or you can remember it as 2 straight and then slide to the side, or the third easy way would be just do a count of 3 and form an L shape on the board. So if I do a count of 3, that would be 1, 2 and 3. Again, if I do a count of 3 and form an L shape on the board, that would be 1, 2 and 3. Let's do it again. 1, 2 and 3. 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 So I have shown you many ways of how you can remember this interesting chess move of the knight. Now let's see how this knight can travel on the board from one place to another. So if your knight is sitting here and if he wants to reach to this square, then how many turns it would take for him to reach to this square? I'll give you 5 seconds to think, but if you want more time, you can pause the video. So from here, the knight can first go to this square, right? 1, 2, 3. And from here, the knight can now go to the destination square. It will take knight a total of 2 moves to reach its destination square. Let's look at one more example. How many moves it will take for this knight to reach this particular square? You can pause the video and think. So it would take a total of 3 moves for this knight to reach this destination square. So in the first move, it can travel 1, 2 and to this square. So that would be the first move. In the second move, it can travel 1, 2 and 3 to this square, and in the third move, it will travel this way and go to this square. So it will take the knight 3 moves to reach this destination square. An alternate route would be that the knight can first go to this square, and from here it can go to this square marked in blue, and then to this final destination square, or from here it can go to this square 1, 2 and 3, and then from here it can go to 1, 2 and to this final destination square. So there are a lot of ways in which this knight can reach to this destination square. The shortest possible number of moves required for this knight to reach this square would be 3. So let's play this move in reality. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. Got it? Also, one interesting thing to observe is that when a knight is sitting on the white square, in its next turn, it always tends to jump on the black square. See, 1, 2 and 3. It's landing up on a dark square. And from the dark square, it will now land on a light square. Since this knight is sitting here on the dark square, it can go to one of these light squares marked with the arrows. Let's say the knight comes on this square, and now again from here it will go to one of the dark squares. So what I am trying to make you understand is that if a knight is sitting on a light colored square, it will then go to a dark color square, and from dark color it will jump to a light color square, and so on. Now I have an interesting question for you. Can the knight come to this square? Well, ideally, if this square would have been empty, then the knight could have come on this square. But now, since this square is occupied by another chess piece of his own army, he cannot come to this square. So this knight can go to any of these squares marked with the blue arrows, but not on this square. What if this king was sitting here? Then now, can the knight jump to this square? Well, yes. The interesting thing about knight is that it's the only chess piece on the board which can jump over other chess pieces. So even if the king is sitting over here in his path, it doesn't matter. The knight can jump over this king 1, 2 and then come to this square. Let me put more pieces on the chessboard so I can show you on what all squares the knight would be able to jump on. So if the knight is sitting here, so in this case, this knight sitting over here can go to this square, can go to this square, this one over here, this one here and this one here. It cannot go to this square because this place is already occupied by one of its own army pieces. So as you can see, the knight is surrounded by his own army pieces, but still if he wants, he can jump over those pieces and go to its destination square. So the knight can come to this square or it can come to this square and so on. Now let's understand how a knight captures other enemy pieces. So if an enemy piece is standing on one of the squares that the knight is able to control, then that knight can capture that enemy piece. So in this case, this knight sitting over here can control all of these squares marked with the blue circles. And as you can see, that one of the enemy pieces is sitting on a square which is controlled by this knight. So now the knight can easily capture this piece by going to that place and removing it from the board. And now from here, this knight can capture this piece over here. From here, it can capture this piece. And now from here, he can capture even this piece or even this piece. So now, since he is able to capture two pieces, he will have to decide which piece he wants to capture. Let's say the knight decides to capture this particular piece. And now you can see, after reaching at this place, the knight cannot capture this piece because this piece is sitting too far and is not sitting in one of the squares that the knight is able to control. So the knight cannot capture this piece. If you are serious for chess and want to improve your game, then I would recommend you to join one of my membership programs. Do check them out. And now here is the question of the day. You have to tell me that how many squares is this knight controlling now? Give me your answers in the comments box and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep learning and keep practicing.